Welcome everyone. I'm admin 1 of NEFX. Today is November 1st, 2022, and happy belated Halloween. It's a nice, creepy event for us all. I actually didn't do anything for that specific day, but as you saw, I had one Halloween party, and I actually had another one off camera that was in real life with other people. That was great. Best Halloween-related event I'd ever been to, but anyway. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. As some of you may have noticed, I have not been as prolific this year when it comes to the text pieces, the NEFX text pieces. And for that matter, some of you, maybe in my inner circle, have been aware that this has been due to something akin to writer's block, but more a searching phase in which I've been trying out different approaches behind the scenes. But after a lot of trying and some contemplating, I've been thinking of coming back to more or less the default method I've been using for writing, but also, oops, hang on a second, I accidentally went out of screen. I don't know if, yeah, you saw that. Anyway, but I'm going to see what happens when I basically do this while on stream, and I'm going to maybe avoid to a degree some of the previous patterns that I'd fallen into, but not entirely. Anyway, we'll just go right into it. This may be sort of a slog, maybe a bit of a glacial pace, a bit of a train wreck at the same time, but it'll be a good, I guess, first attempt at this. It's a good way to kind of break in this whole process, this mini-series, if you will. We'll see how long it goes. I'd like to, from where I'm sitting right now, continue this at a different point, do more streams that are like this. And I can say right now that the first text piece I'm going to be doing, starting on the stream, will actually bear some relevance to some people in a certain community that I'm a big part of, in a way that I think they'll be very surprised and excited by. This will reveal for now, but it'll come out in due time what it's about. So that's enough cryptic talking right now. And by the way, I intend to, at another point in this video, this stream, work on a music track that features Eddie Dingle on it. So stick around for that. Look at the chat right now. It doesn't look like there's anyone in here, but that's alright. There's still a chance to catch it after the fact. Let me just double check something here. Yep, so far it's just me. That's fine. So, I'm going to actually get some water right now. Right next to the faucet. Inside the steam department here. So I imagine that future streams like this will also feature some mapping. Currently, one of my main mapping projects at the moment is something that is just making a template. So that's the sort of thing that I don't imagine I'll do very much of on camera because it's just kind of a slow, tedious, repetitive thing. But I might do that in a future stream if I see people in the chat and I can sort of interact with them while I'm doing that. It's sort of like a just chatting moment. A little bit of background stuff happening. Make sure that the water is warm enough. Check real quick. Shoot off another notification in the Discord. But I'll get right into it. Shouldn't be very long. Stream has started. Okay, let's go. So, we have this document. What are we going to fill this document with? Well, one thing that I've been thinking about lately that seems worth a prompt, so to speak, is, I guess, methods of basically of control. That's a little bug on my microphone stand. Dead bug, but methods of control that kind of start with ingratiating oneself for the subject. Trying to find the best position for this microphone here. Okay, I think it's like this other computer, kind of in the way, my work computer. I'm still working this thing out. Maybe if I tilt it a bit more this way, see where the sound levels come through and that. Yep, that looks pretty decent. So anyway, to get back to what I was saying, let me change this to plain text here. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Methods. Control special. What would be the word? What would be convincing? It's the sort of thing where you're more luring someone in, sort of encouraging them than by direct coercion per se, although the coercion is often implied. So in this case, especially by convincing. So things that come to mind for that would be invocation of a past, of a shared past. That is to say, the convincer, the controller, would try to make themselves out to be your friend. That's one possible route. But, more to the point, something of a shared past. So it would be like where they are building up to what they're getting you to do by saying directly or not, usually indirectly, really. And this is across many different contexts, so that's why I say indirectly. Saying that they're glad to see you again as like an old friend or a comrade or something like that. But then what would the right term be? Would it be domineering? Not necessarily. Say the manipulating agent would. Frequently rely on not just gesture of ally. Shift to the subject. But also the idea of a shared past. Sometimes context like this unclear. Open. Simply stated. Kind of getting focused. Follow. Gonna put a semicolon here, so that seems to be where the sentence is heading grammatically. So sometimes the context of this is unclear, but opens the system is stated as a kind of beginning premise of the controlling and convincing rhetoric to follow. So it's a way to ingratiate the manipulator. such a way, use a way to treat its actual nature of so-called allyship. So it's sort of like when, and again, this is not meant to be a pure street level per se, although it can take that form, but more broadly, like a systemic sort of thing. So it's sort of like the macrocosm of an instance where someone who doesn't really keep in touch with you for a while decides to suddenly reach out purely for a favor, and one that's kind of unclear and kind of shady. So sitting there, invoke something of great and novel, especially concerns something like leadership in the world is known, so someone or something that's of world stakes that affects virtually everyone, people on a wide scale, could be within a nation, for example, or the planet. Leadership in the world is known. Cutting technology, or as the case versions, both, such as artificial intelligence control. Here, so here tokens, maybe tokens isn't necessarily the right word, but sort of like lip service can be given to recognition of the past role of this important thing that's being invoked, and maybe the ways in which it has at least supposedly helped out the subject, the manipulating agent, the world at large, whatever group is supposedly at stake here. So, and then maybe with a caveat, because one would have to kind of set the stage for trying to convince the subject to follow along with the plan, to do favors for some kind of scheme. So I'm going to set a timer for this, because I want to focus on this for a bit and then transition at least temporarily to working on that track with editing on it. So, you have a thing, I just hope you helped. The subject is reference to its person. Importance. Awareness. The things. Would be the word actions, or perhaps news. So the thing's importance or goings on. We'll go with recent history. That implies sort of a keeping up with. Maybe more broadly recent going far. There we go. mar the thing's success and repute. The pattern of this manipulation is that seldom seen or clarified this let alone that contact is utilized in less materially power situations than the case in question. So now then, what sort of issue would often be brought up here? Well, it could be something that's supposedly lost, and in such case, it could be something that's that is supposedly lost because of wrong or illegitimate pressures converging on the thing. So, let's see. Check see if what's in here. Check periodically. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this chat here in front of me. Make sure I can catch things as they come along. Okay. Oops. This cord isn't quite long enough, even though it is very long. Yeah, I think that's as far as I can get it. All the other outlets are used up, and they kind of have to be. Can't really unplug anything right now. Let's see if we can help. Symbols. And yet also, for that matter, return, seeking to return various lost things, especially portrayed as, I've got to fix these spelling errors here, where they can be portrayed as pressures acting upon the thing. Thing which is once is both impeachably strong and strongly persecuted. Invasion arising from loss of these things that more do generally using a regular price. Do also the mass conditioning. I can probably just unplug this phone for at least for now. It's fully charged. Take the time to fix these spelling errors too. Found is emphasized. So in this case, fear of the unknown is invoked. That is, the subject that is supposed to be convinced and basically mentally controlled, convinced into serving some kind of a secret scheme. And again, this is on the systemic level, but sort of casually talked about as though in the case of like the street level of one-on-one, which again it can be. But although I think with this second paragraph we're kind of hinting more at the former at the very least. But this is supposed to be a broadly applicable thing that I'm going over here, based on things that I've been thinking about and have read. So here, if enough has gone wrong, then the subjects can be convinced that that which they do not know and do not know that they do not know can be generally ascribed to something abstract that is then connected to concrete hardship, whether the subject is directly and knowingly experiencing or that they see around them. So see how I can articulate that right here. The unknown, what the subject does not know. Knows that they don't know that they don't know. Can be ascribed to loss or damaging thing being invoked. And by extension, to a bogey, generally masses large, responsible for this. So let's read that sentence back. Here, insecurity and fear not only of the unknown, but what the subject does not know that they don't know, or more to the point, what they know that they don't know, what it is they don't know. Can be ascribed to the loss or damaging of the thing being invoked and by extension to a bogey. Generally the masses or beings at large supposedly responsible for this. subject either their own experience or their observable surroundings. So this premise being set, the subject generally is borne out by history. This is a pattern, but one that is sort of canonized and often portrayed on like the street level in different forms of mythology and the like, fiction more broadly. See how much we got here. This is printable. My quota is a little over 1 page at least. We already came pretty close, so I don't know if I'll get to that in time, but this is a good start at any rate. So the premise being set, the subject generally is borne out by history. I should say, clarify more towards the beginning, that the thing could be a person. So let's see where it can be put. So in methods of maintaining control, especially by charisma or convincing, the manipulating agent can frequently rely on invoking not just gestures of allyship to the subject, but also the idea of a shared past. Sometimes the context of this is unclear. Open with such sentiment stated as a kind of beginning premise, the controlling convincing rhetoric to follow, as a way to ingratiate the manipulator to the subject for help, even where the context of the person in such a way gives away the truth of the transactional nature of the so-called allyship. Proceeding from there, the agent can invoke something of great novel magnitude, especially if it can concern something like leadership when the world is known, or the cutting-edge technology, or as the case may be, the convergence of both, such as an artificial intelligence and control. Either the thing, too, it is hoped be held by the subject is invoked with reference to its supposed importance. Sorry, I'm kind of mumbling. I'm just kind of okay. By the subject, enterprise, group, person. Oh, this is invoked with reference to. Let's put etc. to be safe. Just give people an idea. Okay. So reading that sentence back, it has a lot of commas. Here the thing too, it is hoped to be held by the subject, which can mean enterprise, group, person, cause, etc. is invoked with reference to supposed importance, the agent's awareness of this and the thing's importance or history, either recent or far, as well as the presumed pattern of instability that may mar the thing's success and repute. Okay, yeah, so by sort of personalizing the thing in such a way, the manipulating agent convinces the person to help it, assuming it isn't literally a person, but, more broadly, like sort of like a vulnerable person or something, even as the thing in this case is portrayed as at the same time being so powerful and right, let alone right in its position of control and structural power, that it behooves the subject to a degree, drop what they're doing to help out. Name of this thing. Okay, so going back to where I left off at, towards the end of this so far. Actually, the name of this thing, accordingly, they may internal display controlling street themselves in what I'm getting at with the paternalistic part is in connecting this issue of the thing with the issue of masses, namely in the idea that without this thing, at least being in ideal condition that it supposedly was up to the point of needing help, that they would perish or suffer or something along those lines. And thus, even measures taken in the name of the thing that would harm the masses or portrayed as helping them, certainly insofar as they would help the thing. Masses, often by restoring more could be manipulating agent to portray things having been on the verge of a new accomplishment. Statement, etc. It would have brought the masses to understand well through the amazing conditions. By misfortune or injustice that befell his end. This required significant call for help. Okay. Here, even the loftiest states of thrive with outright survival trade and execution. Likewise, by or else, they good progress. I already feel better. Mention that self-defeatingly is the hollowness of the call for bear is at least being fueled by a mercenary domineering impulse, which may likewise have to answer to another on the agent. Okay. Still no one in here yet. Let's see if yep, no response in Discord. That's alright. Just checking again. But I can definitely say that I'm about finished with the text piece here. And it took less than half an hour. So let's see. Let's pick up where we left off. So here, even the loftiest and imaginable states of thrival, if not outright survival, can be portrayed as hinging on the helping and restoring of the thing in question. Like Hobson implied, or else some part of the manipulating agent that self-defeatingly lays the hollowness of the call for help bare is at least being fueled more by a mercenary dominating impulse than by material necessity or principle. Okay, I'm about ready to save this. I know. Got a little less than 10 minutes left for this portion, so we'll continue about as far as we can. Thinking ideally the agent funneled is yet proportionally funnelable, and therefore more specific and varied actions were the surest way to help them in question. So we're being pretty loose here. We're giving a situation between the manipulating agent, or more concisely the agent, the subject, which is that which the agent is seeking to manipulate, and the thing, which is basically what is to be helped, according to the agent here. In a perhaps longer, more systematic piece, I would probably try for at least a different term than the thing, but it suffices here. We've ran with it, and it works out fine. Now, feasibility of some what is lost, pieces thereof. Trade is offered enough hope. Feasibility of the cause for the subject to set about carrying out the will. This, of course, begs the question of how and why such would be known, i.e., why and how something lost found within a certain boundary, be it physical, geographically, physically, abstractly, etc. Not precisely pinpointed, let alone dismissive words issued by the agent. They can portray, project, earnestness, striving to know, step, which is found retrieved, returned, yet. And also, or reward on this retrieval. The projected condition established is sure qualities adapted on account of others. Concerned. Similar high stakes, name mistake, something, subjects, critical. They brought to the subject so thus people are. By morality, survival, definitely. Especially where it is amidst trade is not yet known. The agent to seek. All right, we did it. So this is getting close to 3 pages, actually. That was very good. I'm not going to release this just yet. I'm actually going to just save it for now. I'll go back, I think, off screen at some point. Kind of read over it again. Make sure that there are no serious mistakes as far as spelling, grammar, etc. And then I'll release it. But for now, just save it in here. Give it the title of Manipulating Agents, Subjects in High Stakes. Maybe just have manipulating agents, subjects, and things between. Maybe lofty things. Yeah, that'll do for this one. All right. Sort of beat the clock. Well, sort of barely. And now let's move on to the piece with Eddie Dingle in it. First, I'm going to see if I can mute myself here. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back now. So I'm going to launch Logic Pro X, and this one might take even less time than the text piece because, for one thing, I'm not as potentially rusty with music as I am with writing, given the issues I've been having with writing lately that I do feel like I'm starting to overcome already. So I think streaming myself doing this definitely helped. I feel very much aware and lucid, and like I'm getting the wheels running again. But also just the fact that this next piece that I'm going to work on, I already have a good amount of it done. So I'm just going to wait for this to load up. Then I'll switch the windows for you. One interesting thing about this piece, and also the latest one that I released, not only does it feature Eddie Dingle, but also I've taken to experimenting more with a tempo changing method that Logic Pro allows, where it changes the pitch along with the speed. Now granted, in some audio applications like this, that's more the default, but as you may have heard, in many of my pieces, I've changed the tempo without necessarily changing the key. And that's pretty good and has proven very useful. But in this case, it is pretty good because I like to have key changes, especially in cases like this where there are pretty large portions of this recorded session where Eddie Dingle and I would play in the same key and the same scale. And so changing the key definitely helps give it more of a variety and like a breadth and depth, I find. So, you know, it is good to switch back and forth between changing this tempo but not this, changing the speed but not the pitch, changing the pitch but not the speed, changing both, or occasionally changing neither. But I found that this is a pretty good way to sort of automatically have both types of dynamic changes in these pieces, which I tend to want to have in NEFX pieces. And it's also interesting because it changes the flow of the editing together. Because as you probably know, I write a lot of NEFX pieces, whether made by myself, as in the case of the Brutal Wheels map pack soundtrack, or with other people like Eddie Dingle in this case, or KK Junkies was a recent collaborator, or just in the past, you know, different collaborators I've had. Usually I would edit together pieces I would hear, but what I would often do is that, you know, maybe just out of whether it could be anything from laziness down to just the fact that adjacent parts tend to more easily flow together because there's kind of a logic going through them, however impromptu, in the moment that I'm playing the parts. But I would often make pieces out of parts that were very close together in the original session, whereas I think in the past I would bring pieces or segments from different parts of the session together, and I kind of drifted away from that for better or worse. But in this case, I think something about changing the tempo and pitch of something at the same time kind of means that I end up kind of moving stuff around more and saving some parts for a different piece, or maybe for later in the same piece. I just find that there's a lot more moving around of parts than there was before, and I think that's pretty interesting. That's a new dynamic and also a nice, healthy new challenge to composing. I'm not saying that I'll always do this, but I think I'll be doing it a bit more often, at least for a while. Because I found that even just something as simple as where I would normally have, you know, part A and part B basically in that order, you know, A, B, C, D, here I find that by changing the pitch and tempo at the same time, D will make more sense in front of A, that sort of thing. I don't know how much that makes sense, but maybe it'll become more clear as I do more of these. So here we have what I've worked on so far for this piece. Let's set the timer for this as well. Let's hear it back. From the original tempo, because usually the definition of notes, so to speak, it's clear enough in the faster, you know, in the regular tempos at which I play them. Sometimes I do it so fast that it just sounds better when it's slowed down. That helps give variety, because I think I tend more towards speeding stuff up. But this is a slowed down version of the regular recording. Here, there's a transition. I can kind of get what I'm going for here, but it sounds still a bit jarring and disparate here. So maybe I'll slow this down just a bit. Of course, keep in mind with the smaller segments like this, even little changes in the tempo go a long way as opposed to, bigger pieces. So just to see what I mean here. Let's shear this back again. See what happens if I disperse this out a bit more. Maybe if I speed it up, actually. See what happens there. Sometimes if you slow down or speed it up enough when you have this sort of function, which is the speed FX thing right here, this is what automatically correlates the speed and pitch. But if you stretch it enough in one direction or the other, it ends up kind of lining up with the pitch and overall feel of the adjacent region, but on a different octave. So that can kind of help logically bridge the gap between two parts. So let's see what happens if I do that, if I speed it up. And to this point I might have to loop that so it sounds a bit more solid and logical. That might work, yeah, 3 times. Let's hear that. Yeah, that actually works fine, but it may just be that this thing just needs to be different tempo too. Or it may need to be moved around, but I've gotten the feeling that the way that this picks up, this region does go well after this. It just needs to have a different pitch and maybe a different tempo too. The thing of it is that I tend to decide tempos of sections of a piece depending on how fast you can go while still maintaining definition. So if it's very notey, very dense with a lot of a staccato, a lot of glissandos, just a lot of notes per second basically, then in that case I'll tend to not want to speed it up too much, because after a certain point, well, it becomes a blur, of course. So I have to be a bit careful about it, and I'll sometimes listen back over and over. And so let's see if this is about the right tempo it should be at for that rule. This might actually be a bit harder than I initially thought. It may be a case where I could be better off sticking to my usual method of changing the speed without changing the pitch. Editing it together that way, and then maybe raising or lowering the pitch of some of the regions, but more manually rather than leaving it to correlate with the speed change. But with this piece, I only really need it to be at least 2 minutes long. It can go over 3 minutes or so. Sometimes it does, but really I just need to around 2.5 minutes for pieces like this. Need to make this changeable here. This is a bit weird. Yeah, when you merge regions like I just did with this section here, and I did it to change the tempo of them all together, so now it'll be editable. But yeah, when you merge them like that, then you have to kind of click on this again to turn on the flex option for the region that allows you to basically change the tempo by shrinking or expanding it. So this makes it faster. let's shrink this further. Let's go overboard because there's not a lot of notes. How much time elapsed to this point? So 1 hour, 31 minutes, 36 seconds. Okay, yeah, a little ways to go. So this is interesting here. It's more of a 6/8 pattern and sounds, at least superficially speaking, kind of cow-pokey. And a broad vision that I get from these segments that I've heard is something to do with, I guess, railways. Like sort of 19th century stuff or what have you. This would be like a sort of surreal, mystical approach to some kind of a collective communal railway craft with, you know, a higher vision to it. Let's see what part of this will do. Get it down to this some more shape. Look, it starts off with just that beat change and just a few ringing notes. We need to loop it. Maybe I'll just let it stand on its own, and then I'll loop this part coming up where it starts to become more of a staccato riff. Yeah, it's not quite tonally in sync there. Like Eddie and I are both getting to some place, but we're not quite converging yet. It sounds a bit messy. There we go. That's where it is. So if I split it right about here, just before like a blob starts, that's usually I found the right spot in which to cut something and make it the beginning of a looped phrase, so it sounds more seamless. Not always, but that's generally what I found to be the case. Sometimes, you know, people wouldn't even necessarily hear the splicing. I've been sort of up and down as far as how seamlessly and smoothly I'm able to splice regions. Like I've definitely gotten better at it over the years, but admittedly there have been times where I've just been sort of sloppy with it. So let's hear this. So that might be loopable, but let's hear what comes after, because sometimes there's enough constancy, you know, across, you know, iterations of a riff, and still enough like convincing variation around it that just that one take, you know, the one loop of a phrase is enough. So yeah, actually I think that could be good on its own. I might chop off the tail ends of some of those riff loops, because sometimes I hear like an essence of a different time signature in it. I'm sure I've talked about this in one of my composed through videos from years ago, like 2019 or something. But sometimes if I hear like the essence of a riff, I think is conveyed by the end of the 4/4 time, then I'll sometimes cut it short. Other times, I'll extend it to, it depends on what I'm sort of hearing in it, but I've noticed in a lot of cases when people try to make a riff, if they're defaulting to the 4/4 thing, then oftentimes it seems like they'll convey the essence of the riff before the end of that 4/4 time, and they'll just kind of let certain notes ride until the end before they return to the beginning of the riff. And I get why they do that, but I tend to not do that. So let's listen back here. I think this part can commit loops too, especially because it's like shorter, so it's a shorter phrase that I'm selecting, so it goes well as like the sort of tail end of the other riff, an appendage or whatever. I'm kind of mixing up my terms here, so it's a bit unclear what I'm saying. Right about here. Wait, spliced that a bit too early. Let's about here. Yeah, so let's try this. Let's see what happens if we loop this a couple times. Repeat twice. Probably cut that off about here. Sometimes, even if the essence of a riff is conveyed over the course of 4/4, it's usually more powerful to cut off the final iteration before the end, because the essence has already been conveyed, and so it helps the piece, I think, flow, more dynamically. Wait, let me test this. Can you hear me well? Is that coming through on this thing? I don't know. You may not even hear me. That's a little weird. Well, I'll look into that later. Maybe I can change the pitch of this well. See what happens if I slow this down a bit. Oops. about there is where it starts just kind of rambling, being redundant. So let's sit back. Yeah, that could be looped a few times too. But at the same time, maybe after this point is when this part can be sped up a bit, because the notes seem to be less dense, at least for a little while. But I think there are probably other parts in this region where the notes are fairly dense. And yeah, this region here is the original tempo and pitch. There are also other parts here where you go into other keys as well, and different scales. But for significant stretches, basically, it's what I facetiously called the marathon scale, because most of the tracks from Marathon 1 soundtrack, they have the same scale and key. They use the same set of notes many times, and so since I know Eddie Dingle from Marathon, him and I sort of went for that for a while. There are some parts that are kind of reminiscent of like Fat Man or Flippant, or maybe something like Guardians, even Freedom. Usually the more action-oriented tracks, but they're much more reminiscent of the eerier or calmer ones as well. So let's hear it back from the beginning here. I think this needs to be looped one more time too. It seems to end a little short before the transition happens, so. Let's be looped one more time. Yeah, I found over the years that I've erred more on the side of repeating a bit too much than repeating a little too little. So let's do this part again, starting from this track. Let's join these two, maybe bridge these two parts, make the transition a little more logical in terms of like the build up. Time. Wait a minute. I'll move that part. It goes on for a bit too long before looping back. and we'll see what happens. Let's listen back, check for the note density to assess how much it should be stretched from here, because I think this is where a key change should happen. Yeah, it can be increased a little bit, I think. Even if some definition is lost, it won't be by much. The essence will still be conveyed that I want to convey. So. Okay, actually that can be shortened a little bit. Yeah, right about there. Okay. That's an instance where, even though it's mostly 4/4, the sum signature of it is sort of odd. Let's try something here. Let's see if what happens if we move this around, because that opening swing could be a good intro to the track. So just a bit behind this big region here. What happens if it's like this? If I slow this part down. sped this up just a little bit. Maybe this wasn't the way to go after all. Automatically changing the pitch with the speed becomes like a case of chasing your own tail, I think. In some cases it worked. Like it worked, I think, fairly well for the last piece. But yeah, I do think just edit them first, decide on the tempo, and then decide on any key changes from there, or pitch changes more broadly. So we won't finish this tonight, but I am getting closer. Maybe we'll finish it. We'll see. It depends on how I'm feeling. Okay. I'll leave that once again too. Here. Part of the middle is pretty redundant, so this is a good way to fade out, basically. Move this over. I don't even know if we'll need to do like a reverb note fade like I often do. But let's see, overall, this piece is about the length that I expected. It's between 2 and 3 minutes. Cut it off about there because not much more happens. It's just sort of riding out to the end of the 4/4 like I talked about before. So we'll see how it sounds twice. This part's going to be over 3 minutes. until the part where it's more emphatic, like dun dun dun. Yeah, I think right about here. See what it sounds like that way. Yeah, that's better, I think. Speed this up some more. I'm getting so close. Just gonna drag over here. This off a bit at the end, and I'm going to do a no reverb ending here. So I think it's cut out here, paste here. I should do it. Yep. Okay. So fade out ends about measure 1008. So I'm going to do a bounce here. 920 to 1008. Let's see what we're going to call this. I don't know if you can see that on here. No, you can't see the saving window. That's right, I think you get the idea. So 920. And 1008. That's going to let me title it. This will contain the word railway. I can say that much right now. Just program stalling a little bit. Doesn't usually stall this much. Okay, here we go. So railway forger. Railway forger trip. Yeah, I think that's a good way. Alright, so that track is being bounced. And that's going to be it for tonight. Thanks very much for watching. And I anticipate doing more streams like this that will be for longer, because I started this later in the night than I anticipate doing in the future. We'll see how it goes. I would definitely like for NEFX to be this thing that never stops, that is constantly producing, basically. Primarily in text pieces, because I think that's actually the most important thing, but also in music, tracks, marathon maps, etc. And I anticipate showcasing some of that other stuff more. So I actually think I'm just going to end this now that the track is bouncing. I'll upload it soon. And we'll see you all next time. Thank you.